And that you can unhandle bits and pieces of. Yeah. So Yitzchak is joy, because joy, here we're talking about Tagboris Achayis, an awesome intensity of life that comes down. That Yitzchak's gevurahs are not gevurahs in the sense of limitation and constriction. They're the shorish of gevurahs, the source of gevurahs, which is intense life.
So is that the honeymoon?
Yeah.
So it might be a little off topic, but if gevurah is really just really, really intense, over the top, too much sweetness, i.e. chesed, that therefore needs to be tempered, then what do we need tiferes for? In other words, if you've got manageable chesed, then it's chesed, and if it's like over the top chesed, well then we'll only give you a little and we'll call it gevurah. But that would seem to be enough.
So here we're talking about the shorish of gevurah. Gevurah, as it is gevurah, is holding back, is limitation. In its shorish, it is an intensity of shefa even more than chesed. That's in its shorish. But down here, chesed is giving, gevurah is holding back, and tiferes is the balance of the two.
So in other words, what's made it through the shtalshalos of gevurah is just the restraint part, not the shefa part. Okay.
Because it's too much. So here the Rebbe is saying that the gevurahs of Yitzchak is talking about gevurahs as it is in its shorish, which is the intensity of life, and therefore it's joy, because you can experience, you can handle the gevurahs as they are in their source. You can handle the intensity of life if you have simcha, because simcha is peretz geder. It's pulling down all the barriers. So instead of just having the little drop of honey, then that's all you can handle, the little bit of gevurahs, you can handle the full-blown intensity when you have joy, because joy is peretz. It pulls down all the fences. It broadens your capability.
So you're actually getting gevurah, but you're getting it from its shorish. So that's expression.
Yeah. So this is a whole new view of gevurah. And now you see the Yitzchak and gevurahs laughing, and all fits perfectly.
So through simcha, you're actually getting gevurah, and you're getting the source.
The source, the tagboris achayim.
It's not chesed, it's gevurah.
Yeah.
You should be laughing for gevurah.
And so this is va'ad l'chaim betachlis hashleimus, to the point where you can live life on its completest, real, absolute level, dugmas menichya lefanav sheyelas lovei, which is like when we're alive in the future. After Tchis HaMesim, we'll be properly alive. As we said earlier, that Sarah was living on a level of life as if it was the future already, not life as it is now, that life is followed by death, but life as it is in the future, where life is forever. That's tagboris achayim. That's life in its intense form, not a limited life that dies, but an unlimited life that is totally beyond. That is tagboris achayim.
So is it correct to say that simcha paretz geder? Geder is gevurah, because it's borders and boundaries. So that is what's being pulled away. You're getting to the source of it. So it's still gevurah, but without the limitations of gevurah. That's what it means, like.
It's the source of gevurah. It's the source of gevurah that doesn't need to be contracted. The tagboris.
So that's the borders that you're knocking away.
Yeah. So let's do ches. This we're describing here Sarah, but this is something that we have to achieve as well. That here we're not talking about a once upon a time. We're talking about something that we have to try and reach and emulate. That it's not just that Sarah reached a level of dilah havachayin. Her life was hers. She was balabas over her life. She was master over her life, meaning she was living it. She was totally alive. She wasn't just alive on the functioning level of survival and breathing and having a pulse. She was totally alive, living with the intensity of life, the full intensity of life. And this was all in a state of simcha, of joy, which is what draws down this power, but joy that comes from bittul, from total humility, where it's not about me. I'm alive because I'm not thinking about myself, because I'm not stuck in myself. I'm alive because I'm getting on with my mission. This is myself a similar bonding. This that Sarah experienced is a precursor and also a guide for us to emulate. The avodah of Sarah is a guide, an instruction, as well as an empowerment for every single Jewish soul. Meaning that we have a prototype, we have a paradigm, we have a model, which is Sarah, to follow. But she was not just a model to follow. Her doing it empowers us to do it as well. If she did it, we can do it. Why? Because myself is similar bonding. What the fathers and mothers did is a precursor for the children. To the point where this ability, the ability to live life on the level of simcha, which is from bittul, and therefore be totally alive, that is something that every single Jew inherits from Sarah, like everything we inherited from the fathers and the mothers. They're called avos and imais. They're called fathers and mothers because children inherit the traits of their parents. And we as their children have inherited their traits. So this is a power, the power of living this level of simcha, of bittul, of life, is something that we totally have. Which means we are able to serve Hashem with a revealed simcha, with a joy that you can see on the face. And that joy is based on bittul, on not me and my feeling of self, but on my sense of mission, of bittul to the one above. That my soul is like dust to everybody, like we say in the end of Shemona Esrei, that I'm totally bottled, it's not about me, and yet I'm in a state of simcha, not this black, dark, miserable type of humility, but a bittul that is infused with joy, and a joy that is based on bittul. The fact that Sarah reached this means that we can too. We inherited it from her. It's two opposites coming together, but it's on a level that's higher than iskalkus, higher than division. She reached it. She worked on that level and brought it down for all of us. Like we saw earlier in the maamar, the idea that once a level is brought down, it's available. It's for the first person who did it, it's a big deal. But once it's done, it's available for everybody. The Mesiras Nefesh that Avram had at the Akedah was an unbelievable thing. But since then, the Jewish people have the power of the Mesiras Nefesh. He brought it down. Now we have it. The simcha and bittul that Sarah had, it's available to us. We can tap into that.
Is this level something that we're supposed to have constantly, or there are times for simcha, and that's when we're supposed to, or is this supposed to be a constant?
If there was such a simcha.
Yeah, it's a constant. Later in the maamar, towards the end, the Rebbe will show that this is always.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, since Sarah did this, and we can do it, you shouldn't worry that if I try this, maybe the results will be negative. Maybe something bad will come out. If I really try to be on a level of total bittul, maybe that will end up making me feel down about myself, and I'll lose my self-esteem. Or if I'm in this revealed simcha, maybe that will give me arrogance, and then I'll lose the bittul, and it won't work, and I'll be full of self. No. There's no suspicion or no possibility that anything negative can come out of this. On the contrary, because joy breaks down the walls, that through this simcha you'll just be strengthened in your avodah even stronger than before. That this joy will not be a joy that will be frivolous, the humility will not be humility that is self-destroying. You'll be elevated in your avodah through this simcha that is a state of bittul. That you'll to the point where you'll be serving Hashem on a level that's above the limitations, the normal limitations of nature. That you'll have this tagboros achayis, the intensity of life, you'll have that in your avodas Hashem, in the way you do mitzvahs. That just like you can have it in life, you can have this intensity of life where you're totally alive and totally present, joyous and energetic and alive. So that should be brought into your avodah. That you're doing it with total simcha, total bittul, on a higher plane. And this, the Rebbe says, when you serve Hashem on this level, it translates into the literal sense of tagboros achayim. Through this, you'll have the literal sense of tagboros achayim, an intensity of life, which means that you live long and have good years in the most literal sense of the word.
Are there any other places where the Rebbe says you'll have long life for doing this?
I don't know. But the Rebbe here is saying is that when the quality of life is intense, is total, is absolute life, so then that translates into you're a healthier person in Begashmius. You're more alive, you're more with it, you're more present in the physical sense. You're healthier, your circulation is going. You live longer as a result of this, as a result of living on this level of simcha. That it's not just an inner spiritual neshama thing, that you're living a life of simcha in your mitzvahs, and your mitzvahs are intense and with full enthusiasm, but you're a healthier person physically. And you actually live longer and good years. Because you're in touch with a level of life that is without limitations.
We still don't know how to actually do this, right?
Sorry?
We still don't know how to actually achieve this, right?
We do. It starts with anava, humility, and humility leads to simcha. Because when you have real humility, when you contemplate on the fact that it's all a gift, your whole life is a gift, all your talents are a gift, you have what to offer, but it's all given to you from above. When you have that humility, so then everything in your life is a gift that has just been given to you, which can only lead to simcha. But that simcha is from humility. And so then when you do a mitzvah, it's not that, I can't believe, does Hashem really need this from me? Does He really want me to do this? It's not like you're being schlepped to do a mitzvah. On the contrary, what can I do? What can I do for Hashem? What opportunity do I have to express some gratitude to all this unbelievable gift that I've been given? You're looking for any opportunity to do a mitzvah, and that mitzvah will be done with simcha. And you're living life, not just schlepping through life, but with enthusiasm, with intensity. So when you're living that way, so then you don't have time to say, I've had a bit of a bad back, I wonder what it is, and spend the whole day thinking about your bad back. You've got life to live, so you're living, and in the meantime, the back is fine. Because you're alive. Because you're not waiting to check every single problem, physical, emotional. You're not worrying, do people appreciate me around there? I think people, they thank me, but the tone of the voice was not exactly appreciating who I am. So I'm going to be offended now. I don't have time for this. You're alive. You're doing. You got things to do. So you have arichas yomim shanim tovos, long life and good years.
It is true. All inhibitions really start from ego. Mm-hmm. That's really what stops us from doing anything. And as soon as we can work on that, then the inhibitions fall away.
Yeah, even this work has to be not egotistical. Mm-hmm. It can't be. So, what level have I reached of bittul?
How much nothing am I? I'm
not so good at bittul. I'm not very good at it. I'm not talking about you. Bittul is just get moving.
So expectation is kind of ego.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And Sarah did it, so we can do it. Okay.
What if you have worries, not just for yourself, but for people around you, your family or friends? How can you just be in a state of simple?
Worries are fine, except for 2 worries. There are only 2 worries you can't have. Things you can do something about it, so do something about it. Things you can't do anything about it, because you can't do anything about it. Other than that, you can worry about anything else.
It's called the Serenity Prayer, something like that. Something that's called the Serenity Prayer. It's supposed to be something like What's it God grant me the...
It's the same. It's all comes down to bittul as well. If Hashem's in control, I'm in control. Who is the balabas here? If
But it's not
Hashem's
to
in
do
control,
with you. It's something outside you.
so is there something I can do about it? I need to do something. If not, then it's in Hashem's hands. It's not in my hands.
Decades prior, whatever.
If I have work to do, if there's something I need to do, then I need to be bothered by it and do something. If there's nothing I can do, so then I have to.
The ability to change the things I can.
The courage to change the things I can.
The worrying is not going to.
And there wasn't another
achieve
difference.
anything.
That's, yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes worrying is the way to feel that you're doing something. I've been worrying all day.
You want to say it again? Say it again. So,
the serenity prayer. You haven't heard that? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Word has it that was actually penned by, I think, the father-in-law of the judge of the Svarim case. Decades earlier, with no connection to the Svarim case, but it's just a random, fun fact.
Okay.
Thank you very much.